But does anyone want... Gavin Cooney, thank you.
Stephen, it was a fun game.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a high technical standard overall, the game. Obviously, I thought it was end to end really overall. I'm disappointed with the 2 goals that we conceded, both goals. But to have the sort of determination and the quality to come back and score the 2 goals that we did is hugely encouraging, and I don't think certainly to win the game would not have flattered us at all, and certainly the goal that cleared us off the line where we probably should have scored just after half time. Had we gone 2-1 up, that was a critical moment in the game, I felt. But overall, very pleased with the level of performance of the players. They were terrific overall, and so that's it.
And just lastly for me, they scored after 11 minutes. They were pretty dominant for about 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden your team rested back on momentum. Did you change something, or how did that happen?
Well, to be fair, I thought John Egan changed a lot, in that period, because his press was so aggressive from left centre back that he won a couple of critical challenges and forced them on the back foot. Plus, he took the ball out and was able to drive and take the ball, just add some calm to our play a little bit. So I thought he was very, very influential in that period when we needed someone to be, and in both characteristics in terms of spectacular challenges, like jumping from the halfway line to 25 yards from their goal to win tackles, and then also carrying the ball out and being able to use it well. So I think the dynamic, psychologically, when they got the goal, they've really only had that shot in the first half, maybe one the side net, and that wasn't really a threat, and that was it. But because they're 1-0 up and they can overload in the midfield, and they drop one of the strikers into midfield, and they can dominate possession a little bit more, but they don't need, because they're 1-0 up. It gives us a problem possession-wise in that period, but Shane Duffy was our spare man then, at that period. But once we got the goal, we were absolutely on top for that period, and in top in the second half, because the dynamic of the game changed. They've got to try and come at you a bit more, and not try and just keep the ball. And we showed more quality then as well, because we were inconsistent with our passing in the opening period, probably, of the game, and just we had some good passes and some erratic ones. So that was it.
Ed?
Steve, yeah. So I wanted to just pick up on that John Egan stuff, because it was evident he burst forward at a time when he really needed something to happen, and not only did he do that, but he stayed forward. He noticed when he went into the box, he was waiting for the cross to come in. Eventually led to a big corner, and the goal came soon after. I suppose is that part of the whole philosophy where players like that can play without fear of, even though it's not part of maybe a game plan, but they have the confidence to go and do that and sort of bring experience and get the rest of the team going.
Yeah, and it wasn't just John. Seamus actually, for the chance that we should have scored at the start of the second half, Seamus actually broke, 25 yards from their goal, intercepted, and put a really nice pass in, and we just couldn't get the finish on it, and come back to James, and James hit it, and Callum knocked off the line. But so I thought on that aspect of things we were quite aggressive in that period, and able to get in front of our man, and we committed players to a high press. Our pressing was relentless, and they struggled to get out with that in that period, and it requires a huge amount of energy, and you can't carry one player even slightly, and against a team of that quality, and it requires huge determination. So because you leave yourself 1-on-1 at the back, and so we're willing to do that because we don't want to be in a low block defending against them. You could play them mid block, end up in a low block, and not get out, and because they're that good, and then it's a slow death. Do you know what I mean? So we're not having that. We don't want that, and that's we want to try and affect the game.
Just in terms of the second goal, the concern of it is that it was almost carbon copy to the goal conceded against Serbia in that sort of position from the set piece. And not only that, but there was another man unmarked coming into, I'm not sure if it was before, in front or behind, but two of them were unmarked, and it was a clear area that wasn't defended. Right? Is that a concern?
No, it's not. No, I think it's our second goal to concede at McCall. It wasn't anything like the Serbian goal. The Serbian goal was a near post header where he got across the very front and flicked it back. That was in the middle of the goal. They're not really comparable to goals at all. But I think but it is our second goal from a set piece in 21 games. So we only had one from a corner kick. Not from set piece, from a corner kick in 20 games. So that was so. We pride ourselves on that, so we're disappointed. It wasn't good enough, it wasn't good enough, and we pride ourselves on that,
Damien, please.
Stephen, could you expect Richard Owsley to have made such an impact so early in his international career?
No, I knew he would be a real threat for us, and that he had great attributes, but, it's a spectacular start, and, to score 3 goals, 2 qualifiers and then a big game against the world number 1 team. His goal ratio at club level is on the low side, but he has to play a different role at club now. He's playing as a wing back at club level, so we really don't see him that. We see him as a forward player, and he's just. Apart from his goals, he gives us so much at the moment, and I think we ask some of the players to elevate their performances above their club form, because that's what we need to do. If we're going to compete with Belgium or Portugal or Serbia or any of these teams, we need our players to elevate their performances above what they can do even for their clubs, playing for Ireland. That's what we need them to do, and Chidozie certainly is doing that.
Dan, please.
Stephen, I know he's sitting next to you, but what was the thinking in bringing Alan on at that stage? What were you looking for from him? What was the instruction?
A few crunching tackles, I think. No, I'm only joking. I think Alan obviously scored a brilliant goal in Serbia last year in this window, and just unfortunate with a COVID issue ruling him out, and then the injury, hip injury, which was a difficult one. But I think for Alan, but I think to be honest with you, he's been in great form for Preston. But that game against Sheffield United, when they were 2-0 down to 10 men, he's captain in Preston. I was at the game in Preston. He scored to get them back in the game and made the equaliser, and actually nearly got the third running from midfield again. It was an inspirational performance, actually, and I've seen him playing in very good form for Preston at the moment. Josh and Jeff have just been so good for us in recent matches, and Alan's a real threat for us, and can play in more than one position as well. So he's really emerged at Preston and doing well.
Nathan, we're just about to end the live section, so if there is any questions for Alan, now's the time to do it. Nathan, please.
Stephen, Robert Martinez was saying how it really didn't feel like a friendly, and he was probably quite happy about that as well. From your point of view, how important is it that while we're a year away from European Championship qualifiers, that these games have an atmosphere that it feels important, even though the results, in the grand scheme of things, maybe isn't all important?
Yeah, well, a centenary game, like it was important, 100 years of the association, and certainly, all of the great players that played for Ireland, and all of the players, obviously all of the great players are high profile, but many players who weren't as high profile still wore the jersey with great distinction, and we wanted the players to do that justice today, particularly against the world number 1, and that was important. And I think to have a nearly capacity crowd was was amazing, and the passion in the crowd, the players fed off that. We wanted to keep our unbeaten run going, and the good run we've had over the last 11 games now, and we wanted to keep that going. And because we've played some good teams, Serbia twice, Portugal twice. Well, Serbia, once in that period, Portugal twice, and Belgium. So it was important to keep that going and try and get a momentum, because you're saying that qualifiers, the Nations League games in June are important, and September, and we want to build momentum for that.
Owen to end the live section.
Alan, we heard what Stephen said about you coming on. What were you thinking coming on, and can you talk us through that?
Well, I just wanted to come on and make an impact. I was given the instructions coming on to get us forward, not just to sit off and play out for a 2-1 loss. That's not our mentality. We want to get the equaliser and then go again. And when the opportunity arose, I got myself in a good area, and thankfully the cross was inch perfect.
Okay, we'll do the